This is quietly destroying your confidence and self-esteem, and you don't even realize it in most of the cases. So, hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of The Mind Engineer. Here, Tommy Walker sharing insight and tools to help you start navigating your life in a very different way. Because I struggled for many years in my life, and although I tried many things, nothing seemed to work till many years later, around when I was in my 30s, when I actually was introduced to these type of tools that started changing my life forever. So before that, many times whenever I felt some negative emotion, I used to kind of numb it, repress it, ignore it with different ways. It could be, more like, healthy things, like going for a run, doing something that you like. But when we're moving away from our negative emotions, what we're doing in a way is repressing a part of us. We are emotional beings. Being emotional beings means that we feel emotions. The problem is that since we were kids and growing up, many times we were exposed to people and circumstances that taught us that we needed to deny our emotions. And this is one of the biggest things that destroys our confidence, our self-esteem, because we're denying parts of us. And one of the biggest emotions that we have learned to deny, repress, and ignore is fear. Unfortunately, the mind has been trained to move away from fear, to avoid fear, to try to control fear, not to feel it. And the truth is, as we cannot control the weather, we cannot control our emotions. The idea is to learn how to navigate them correctly. Because what happens is we have been trained that when we feel fear, we need to move away from the fear because it is threat for the mind. It means like a threat. So as we've been taught when we were kids, you were scared, don't be scared, don't be a whiner, don't be this, don't be that. You were judged, criticized, rejected whenever you felt fear. So your mind has been trained to avoid fear. The other day I was offering a course, lecture to a group, and there was somebody there that was sharing when I was talking about embracing the fear. She said, "Yeah, Tommy, I'm here because I want to learn how not to feel fear anymore." And I asked her, "Why do you think you got to stop feeling fear?" "Oh, because fear this," and then started saying several things. And then I told her, "What if I can teach you how to navigate through the fear so that the intensity goes down, but it doesn't stop you, it doesn't control you?" When we try to control fear, what we do is we deny it, we repress it, we ignore it. And again, what we're doing to ourselves is we're destroying our confidence and self-esteem. Because if now my kid comes into this room and says, "Dad, I'm scared," and I deny that experience to him, he's going to start thinking that how he feels is wrong, that there's something wrong with him. Listen to that because that is very important. When I deny that on somebody else or I deny it in myself, I'm telling that there's something wrong with a part of me that is feeling fear. So if I'm telling myself that there is something wrong with me, am I building my confidence or am I destroying my confidence? Am I building my self-esteem or am I destroying my self-esteem? Put it in the chat, please. I would like to read you afterwards. What happens when we are telling ourselves indirectly that there's something wrong with us? It's like telling ourselves that there's something wrong because we have a hand, because we have two eyes, because we have a nose. Fear is part of this human creation that we're in. So when we're working on denying, repressing, ignoring our fear, we're denying parts of us. In psychology, it's called subpersonalities. So when you are denying a part of you, you're kicking that part of you to the back. You are not letting integrate those parts of you. And what I believe we're here for is to be able to practice unconditional love, to integrate every part of us. Because when you were a little boy or a little girl and your mom said, or your dad, don't be scared, don't be whiny, don't be blah, don't be, a wussy, don't be weak or whatever, what they're introducing in your mind that there is something wrong with that part of you. So as they rejected a part of you, you've learned how to reject that part of you. As you're rejecting a part of you, you're telling that part of you that there is something wrong with you, that you're not good enough, that you're not valued, that you're not lovable. And we go down our life then trying to or prove to others, the provers group, or you fall into the avoider group. There are two main groups in life: people that try to prove to others, and that could be at different areas of your life, and they try to avoid things. People avoid relationships, but they might be very good at trying to show off at their work with their friends, maybe, but in love relationships, they avoid them. Or the other way around, people, are stuck in their work, they're stuck in their life, but in other areas, maybe in sports, they're very good at doing sports. But that's it. So again, we got avoiders and we got provers. The thing is that both groups are trying to prove that there's nothing wrong with them in most cases. Most people that are trying to become successful, make more money, prove to others or things like that, or the ones that are avoiding, they are normally, most of them, coming from a place of not accepting the fear within them. The fear of not knowing if you're going to make more money, and fear of not knowing if you're going to be rejected in a potential relationship, fear if you're going to be rejected at an interview or not picked or whatever that is, or made fun of. Fear is always there when you're doing something that you haven't yet normalized. The more you reject fear, the more you deny fear. Unfortunately, what's going to happen is that you're going to get stuck. You're going to fall into destroying your confidence and your self-esteem because of the lack of dealing with your fear. So if there's a part of you that is feeling scared, the idea is to embrace it. The same thing you would do with your son. You can put your hands on your heart. You can put your hands like this and hug yourself. The same way I would do that for my son, you would do that for your daughter. Start doing it for yourself. If there's a part of you that is scared, start practicing how to be present and stay in that emotion. A lot of people that I work with when working one-on-one or even in groups, they tell me, but Tommy, if I start feeling my emotions, if I start allowing them, mainly the negative ones, am I not going to drown in my emotions? And yes, it makes sense that they come up with that question because when you were a kid and you felt very intense emotions, it was so painful that you felt that you were going to drown in them. So you've learned mechanisms to move away from the pain, whether it is eating, whether it is procrastinating, whether it is, perfectionism, whether it is whatever, is you created a behavior to try to move away from the pain. And now those behaviors are getting more and more sophisticated. I work with a lot of people that come from spiritual backgrounds, that come from a lot of personal development work, and they're still trying to control their emotions. It might be very subtly, but they're trying to control their emotions. And listen, I'm going to give you an example because I've been there and I need to be very aware of this because it happens to most people. As you evolve, as you become more conscious, your ego becomes more conscious. So as one of the videos that I posted on my timeline on Facebook or even on YouTube channel, I posted a video of a woman talking to her inner child and saying, now, you're loved. Telling my inner child, telling myself that now I'm loved could be a way to avoid feeling the lack of love. Because just by telling myself another thing that she says was like, now you have space to show up. Now you have space to be yourself. In a way, that it could be taken as control because I'm telling that kid that it has to come out and start showing himself, that now he's safe. And the thing is, many times as we have hurt our inner child, parts of us, those parts of us are hiding and don't want to come out. So imagine that you have a friend, because I'm pretty sure that this applies for nearly everyone. A friend that screwed you with money or did something that was really nasty, or a partner that, cheated on you and you kick them out of your life. And then suddenly they come back and they pretend everything is fine and they say, hey, I love you. I'm here for you. I want you to flourish. I want you to be you. How are you going to feel if somebody that you kicked out of your life because they created a love or hurt now comes with an supposedly open heart and tell you that everything is fine and to let them back into your life? You're going to be, careful. You're going to leave space. You're going to protect yourself because you've learned to do that. So when I hear these people that do inner child healing, or people that talk to their inner kids, like everything's going to be fine, now I'm here for you, I'm never going to, treat you bad again, or all these things, unfortunately, most of the times it's control to avoid the pain. Again, if I get closer to my inner child and my inner child feels scared, maybe that fear is towards me because it's scared that I'm going to hurt him again. So instead of trying to convince him not to feel fear, I need to acknowledge it. Hey, I understand if you're scared. I understand that you are protecting yourself from me because I've hurt you in the past. And I might do it again because I'm not perfect. I'm learning. That's when you navigate the fear. So many people use inner child healing, personal development, spirituality to move away from the pain. And today I was working with somebody and was telling that person that the person was really feeling uncertainty, felt scared because they didn't know if they were going to be able to make it to the end of the month. And as they did spirituality, they practiced spirituality, personal development, they came here and telling me, yeah, but I know that, next month or the next month, I'm going to make more money and that is going to make it better for this month if I don't make it. So it's not that bad. So as we started navigating these emotions, these feelings, this person realized that actually she was trying to move away from the fear instead of actually navigating it. She was telling herself that the future was going to be better, not to feel the fear, the uncertainty today. That is not navigating the emotions. That is not being present with the emotion. It looks like it, don't get me wrong, because I'm present with fear, but then I tell myself something to stop that. But it's so subtle that most people don't realize. And that again in itself is destroying your confidence and your self-esteem because you're denying parts of you. So the exercise that I did with this woman is I told her to put her hands on the chest or hug herself, whatever she felt more comfortable, right? And then I told her to imagine that she will never be able to get enough money to make to the end of the month. This month, maybe next month, for 6 months, a year, or for now on, for the rest of her life, she might not be able to make enough money. And she felt uncomfortable. She didn't enjoy that. And you know what? Another thing that she came up with, she was scared that she was going to track that. And I told her it makes total sense because if you look at so many gurus, Dr. Dispenza, Bob Proctor, Abraham Hicks, many times they're telling you that you shouldn't feel negative, you shouldn't tap into negativity because you're going to create more of that. But you know what? Again, if my kid comes into this room and he's scared, he's sad, what he needs is a loving adult that is going to hold space for him to navigate through that emotion. That doesn't mean that I'm going to bury myself with him and be like, oh, let's be scared and start, dumping myself in there in that pain of his. No, I'm going to be a loving adult that I'm going to hold space for my kid. So in my case, I am spirit holding space for that part of me, not all of me, part of me that is feeling negative. Another thing that I see a lot is people navigating very little the emotions or numbing it again because they shouldn't feel those emotions because they're scared of manifesting more of that. That is fear again. And as you are avoiding fear, what persists. The more you try to avoid fear, the more is going to show up because actually you're not being able to navigate through it and learn what's underneath the fear. Because remember, under every emotion, mostly negative emotions, there are negative narratives. If I see a Rottweiler, a dog, or a Doberman, I'm gonna feel scared because I had negative incident with those type of breeds. But if I see a golden retriever, if I see other breeds, I feel really good because that's our breeds, one that I have, and other breeds that I might have fallen in love, family, friends, or my grandmother that she loved dogs too. So it's the narrative. I had a negative experience with a Rottweiler or with a Doberman. So when I see those type of breeds, for me, it's like my body goes into fight or flight. Is there something wrong with my body? No. Is there something wrong with the fear? No. It's just telling me that there is something, some experience that I went through that I still need to work on releasing the emotions that got stuck back then. As I've explained many times, as I explained that last year, towards the end of the year, I woke up in a small kind of anxiety attack, and it had to do that I was reliving a moment from my past. So instead of denying the fear, I embraced it. I validated that I have valid reasons to feel that way, and I started navigating the fear. Started telling myself, hey, I don't know why right now, but I know that this is coming from somewhere. Let's learn from this. When I went into that and I started going like this and like this a lot, and as I did with this woman today, what if you cannot make it until the end of the month? She started feeling very uncomfortable, but I started helping her learn how to navigate the uncertainty, the fear. And actually, as she started realizing deeper under the fear, there was a narrative that was, I'm going to be a failure if I cannot pay for my, expenses. So her self-value was given by the amount of money she made. Her worth was made up of how much money she could make. So we started working on, again, reprogramming the subconscious mind to realize her true worth, so that she could start slowly dissolving that her worth was given by how much money she made. And this is something that we have so ingrained in our mind, in our subconscious mind. Our value is given by external things. That's why so many people are struggling in the world, whether it is a job, the house, the family, the money, or whatever it is. So many people are struggling in the world because they have, again, connected their self-worth with what they are able to achieve. And that, again, is destroying their confidence and their self-esteem. Denying your emotions is going to destroy you. We're seeing more and more the impact that it has had for decades and decades of denial, repressing, ignoring our emotions. So finally, it's time to start acknowledging and accepting those emotions, feeling them. Where in the body is it? I feel it in my gut. I feel it in my stomach. I feel it in my heart. I feel it in my chest. I feel it in my head. I feel it on my neck. Where do I feel that fear? What is the message that fear has for me? Because remember, underneath any negative emotion, there is always a gift for you. There's always riches to be discovered. Normally it is the limiting negative and false belief that you have that is creating the negative emotion, that is creating now the behaviors. So when I tell people to be able to start, when people ask me, sorry, one second, how to start feeling more confident, feeling better about themselves, have a stronger self-esteem, it starts by stop denying your parts that might be feeling negative or thinking negative. Instead of denying parts of you, connect with the love in your heart, connect with love. Whether it is somebody that you loved in the past, a friend of yours, a pet of yours, connect with that love that you have towards other people. Connect with that love in your heart. You can even put your hands like this. And then that same love directed to the part of you that is feeling scared for not getting to the end of the month, for the, I don't know, World War III, if you're making in your mind up that, the violence that is going on in the US, or the violence that is going on in other countries, or the inflation, or Whatever it is, share that love and acceptance to that part of you that has valid reasons to be feeling that way. Validate what that part of you is feeling, because that is going to open up that part to understand it deeper, to find the narrative, the limiting, negative, and false belief, the program it created in the past. Where was it created? Why was it created? And then learn how to start reprogramming that. But to go to the reprogramming part, reprogramming is not going to happen if we are denying parts of us. I see so many people applying different tools to deny parts of them to try to bring changes. And unfortunately, they keep falling back into old patterns because they're not really making change. They're just trying to suppress, ignore, repress, deny, and that has a temporary relief, normally very little, but then it's going to bring back the same issue again. Because I believe that we're spiritual beings living a human experience, and the universe is going to help you to grow by bringing to the surface those unresolved issues so that you can finally get over it and become who you truly are meant to be. And the confidence is remembered. If you were a little kid, right? When you were a little kid, when you were a little kid, whenever you fell, whenever you broke something, whenever you were learning how to talk and you did it wrongly, you kept on trying. You came with confidence to this world. You came with a higher self-esteem to this world, but then different things happened in your life that started making you doubt yourself. So it's not creating confidence, it's reconnecting with what's still there. It's who you were before you start putting these masks on, before the different traumatic moments you went through or different challenging moments you went through that created the persona that you became, that you adapted, that you learned to survive. So the idea is to dissolve those masks, and it starts with embracing, in this case, I'm talking about fear, understanding that fear is going to come up anytime you're doing something different. A lot of people struggle with imposter syndrome. The imposter syndrome is just an alarm telling you that you're not used to doing what you're trying to do. You're not so used to doing what you're trying to do. Whether it is finding a new job, finding a partner, whether it is whatever, if you're feeling imposter syndrome, it's just an alarm saying, hey, Tommy, you haven't yet normalized this. Because if we look at, I don't know, do you get, the imposter syndrome while cooking a meal nowadays, just for you maybe, or cleaning the dishes, or doing the lawn, or, reading a book? No. Or singing? No, you don't get the imposter syndrome because maybe you've done it in the past, you have normalized it, and you're okay with that. But when you're doing something different, when you try to move away from the comfort zone, you fall into the fear zone. The fear zone is the outside of the comfort zone. And we're so used to denying, repressing, ignoring, trying to avoid fear that we're destroying our life. That's why most people are stuck in their life, in their relationships, in their business, in their life decisions. Wherever you look, you're going to find that people are stuck in more or less areas because they have learned to ignore, suppress, repress the fear. And the fear is a normal experience that you're going to go through whenever you're doing something that you're not used to. So the more we learn how to navigate that, be okay with the fear. As a mentor of mine always said, fear is a great advisor, but a bad driver. When I try to drive from fear, we got a problem because I'm not thinking clearly. But when I'm letting fear advise me, but I have control in a way, not in a bad way, control in a bad way, but I'm connected with myself and I'm present, let's put it the right way. When I'm connected and present with myself, it's going to be more difficult for fear to take over. So it's dealing with our emotions, getting comfortable with our negative emotions can start building the confidence or connecting with the confidence that is already in there, or rebuild the confidence that was kind of covered up, destroyed as you were growing up. Let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this. The idea is to keep sharing insight and tools to help you start understanding yourself, understanding the mind, understanding how the ego is playing to protect you, but is in a many times holding you back. If you want to learn more, you can write the word free, and we'll share a free training with more insight and tools that can help you start understanding better how the mind works and be able to start overcoming procrastination, self-sabotage, and be able to start moving forward and start creating more of the life that you want, start leading the life that you want. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed